Hi everyone, my name is Daniela and welcome to Crafting with a Cocktail, where we make crafts and cocktails all in one segment. I'm super excited to let you know that today is part of the Patriotic Challenge with Teresa B. DIY and co-hosted by Sammy from Unicorn Dust Designs. This is an incredibly special collab because it is a fundraiser for veterans. So I will tell you a little bit more about that in just a minute and the exact foundation that we are donating to. But all the proceeds from from the money collected from the videos and the playlist and all month long, Teresa's been collecting money for this organization, which is super exciting, and I'm so excited to be part of this. So let's jump into our DIYs, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about that and what today's fun cocktail is. Cheers! I decided to take a twist on the red, white, and blue DIYs by doing Mickey-themed DIYs. Of course, that are all the colors of the American flag, as this is the Patriotic Challenge. By the way, I failed to mention that I will have all of the information below, including the playlist. Now, today's DIYs are specifically using Target One Spot or Target Dollar Spot items, including this puzzle here, which cost me $3. And we are going to transform it into a Mickey and Minnie Tic Tac Toe Board. I'm starting by not even trying to mess with the paper on there, and I'm just going to coat this baby with some white. I do 2 coats. I only show you 1 coat on camera, but I do coat it twice just to cover at least most of the images on there. Now, while that dries, I'm going to do the same things with the letters. As you can see with that red G, you can still see the letter through it. I thought it would coat with the acrylic paint. It did not. So now I'm going back and doing a base coat of white paint on all of my letters. This will help make the color I actually want to use much brighter, and it'll have a lot more coverage. I am drying these off with my heat gun, which I will leave links for you below in case you're interested. This helps the process way faster than it would have been. So now I'm going in and I am painting. By the way, I have 9 of these squares. I am painting 5 of them red and 4 of them blue. You could do 5 and 5. I just honestly just Googled how many X's and O's are in tic-tac-toe, and it said 5 X's, 4 O's, whatever. You could do as many pieces as you wanted, and I'm going to do 2 layers of red on both sides. So the non-letter side is just plain wood, and the letter side. But again, I'm just showing you the base coats here, just the first layer. So again, I'm using red and blue just to color these little tiles and drying them once again with my heat gun. Now it's time to make our little Mickeys and Minnies. So I'm just showing you here that I painted both sides and they're nice and dry. And I'm using a round sponge brush that I dip in some acrylic paint, and I'm just kind of dabbing it down onto my tile a little bit on the lower center side just so that my ears will fit, and I'm giving it a nice spin. So I'm going to do this on every single one of my tiles and then go in with the ears. I think I do all the reds first and then the blues. Yep, I don't know why I did it that way, but I did. Anyways, now I'm taking a smaller round sponge brush. This came in a multi-pack. You could obviously hand paint these circles if you wanted. I just thought this would be a bit easier. And to be honest, it took me a few tries to get into the groove of what the actual Mickey ears look like. So as you can see, these first 2 look more like koala bears or something. But I'm going to go back later and paint over them and redo them. Don't worry. We get the hang of what Mickey ears look like after that. And like I said, I'm going to do this to all of my red tiles and my blue tiles. Now I'm using a darker blue paint. This is like a navy blue. It looks a little bit brighter on screen here because of the white paint underneath, but I'm using that to provide a solid coat onto the entire base of this puzzle. I do the inside, the edges, and the outer edges. I do 2 coats of this as well, and this is after the white had completely dried because I don't want it mixing together. Just showing you 1 coat on the clip here. As I set that to dry, I'm going to move on to making my little bows for my minis. So I'm using a small brush and some of that navy blue paint, putting a circle or dot in the middle, and then just pulling out two little, I don't know what to call them, two little teardrops on the sides to create my bow. So I do this for all of the ones on my red tiles to create what looks like a silhouette of Minnie Mouse. Our last step is to add our Tic Tac Toe lines. So I am doing my best to measure about 2 1/3 inches and for each line here. It was an awkward measurement, like 7 inches or something. And then I'm just going to take a flat or square brush with some white acrylic paint and drag it against or along my T-square here to create my lines as straight as possible. I was a bit nervous to try using painters or masking tape as I was afraid it might lift up the paint since it had that original like paper with the puzzle pictures underneath. So I'm just doing it this way and it worked out fine. They're not perfectly straight lines, but that doesn't bother me. It just kind of adds to the playfulness of the piece. I think this turned out really cute. I think it would be fun for adults or kids or something to play outside in the patio in summer. I just love how it turned out overall.
I think it's about time we check out today's cocktail.
Today we're making what is called a bomb pop. I didn't have all the right ingredients for it, but it tastes just like the bomb pop popsicle. It's like a citrus berry flavor. And we used to make these all the time. It was like our best selling cocktail when I used to work at an art and wine place. So I'm starting out with some ice, pouring in a splash of grenadine. Now this is where I had to get creative. There is a citrus berry seasonal Smirnoff vodka, but I couldn't find it anywhere. It was sold out. So I'm using partially a lemon vodka and partially a raspberry vodka and putting that into my drink instead. I'm then going in with some good quality lemonade. You could of course make your own, but just don't buy that like super syrupy stuff. It won't taste the same. And topping it off with that and some Sprite or some lemon lime seltzer, which I didn't make enough room for. So here I am taking a nice sip so I can add a little bit more bubbles to it. And then to top it off and really make it look, red, white, and bluish, I've got some blueberries and a cherry, and I just top it off with that. Super delicious. I'm telling you, it's a favorite. Next up is our reversible pocket Mickey pillow. This one is super cute and simple yet complicated, okay? I'm using this 2-pack of towels I got again from the Target dollar spot. This was $3 for both of them. And I love that it already had the stars on one side, the stripes on the other. So I'm just kind of laying them out, seeing how big they are. And then I'm going to create a template off screen for how big I can make my Mickey head. I'm making it as big as possible because I know when I bring the edges together and fold it inside out that it's not going to be quite as big. So I'm just using a very light colored marker here and tracing my template out onto each fabric. I'm not going to measure this out for you in case you have some towels that are different sizes or you're using different fabric, but for mine I just used like a paper plate and some bowls to create the outline for this, and I just cut it out onto some poster board, and then again I'm tracing it onto my fabrics and then we'll cut them out. So I really loved the detail there with that bluish ribbon. So if you didn't catch it in the last clip, I did also trace and cut out half of that, half of the Mickey head where that edge was, because I wanted to create a little pocket. Because what's better than a pillow is a pillow with a pocket. What am I going to use it for? I have no idea. I am using the easy cheater method. If you are great at sewing, awesome. I was feeling lazy. I didn't want to bring out my sewing machine. I only have one needle left because I already broke 2 of them. Okay, excuse. Anyways, I'm just hot gluing them together for ease's sake. So I glued my pocket. I almost said hot pocket, guys. I'm gluing my pocket onto the correct side of the pillow, then turning both correct sides inside so that the wrong sides are out, and then I'm going to just glue around the edges. Now, initially, I did leave some gaps in the ears because I thought I would need to stuff those differently than the main area because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get any stuffing there. But I ended up fixing that and gluing them together later because I was able to reach it from all areas in the gap that I left open, which is at the top of Mickey's head in between the 2 ears. When I had it all glued together, except for that gap at the very top, then I am going to flip this Mickey head inside out. I tried to take my time with this and also not pull apart any of the seams. Again, if you are good at sewing, you have a sewing machine or you have this down, totally go for it. I could have sewn this by hand, but I also didn't want to flare up my tendonitis, so this is the method I went with. Again, this is the super easy method. You totally can sew it if you don't want to use hot glue. Now it's time to stuff our pillow. So I'm using some polyfill I picked up at Walmart, super cheap, and I'm just filling him up. And this is when I realized, like, hey, I didn't need to leave those spots in the ear open, so I flipped them inside out, glued them shut, put them back where they were supposed to be, and then I finished stuffing my Mickey pillow. Now, something else I realized that you'll see later in this clip is that after I had it all completely stuffed, well, one, it was difficult to glue back together, but you won't watch that struggle bus. I figured it out. It just took some practice. And the other thing was that the ears just became really floppy, like they weren't holding on their own. So I actually end up cutting them shut, like gluing them shut on both the head and the ears, and then re-gluing it all together. So you'll see that in just a minute here, but for the time being, I'm just stuffing everything together. If I were to go back and make it again, I think I would start it that way in the first place. Create the 2 ears separate and the base separate, and then attach it all together at the end, like I did towards the end of this piece, which you'll see in just a second. Here's a quick close-up shot of me just gluing the top edge together, which is where I was stuffing the Mickey pillow from. I'm just trying to add some glue there, fold the edges inward a little bit so they're not fraying out. I want it to kind of match how all of the other edges are folded in from flipping it inside out. So here I am just putting it all back together before cutting off the ears. Here the ears are already unattached. Okay, I had already cut them off. I did it off camera because I was a little bit nervous it wouldn't work and then would have had to fake like I hadn't done that. But it did end up working, excuse me. I closed off the seams where it was open on both the base and the ears, and then I just hot glue it all back together. I'm stuffing some more stuff in here because it just felt like it needed to be a little poofier, but then I just glue them right on. Now the other fun aspect of this that I realized once I detached the ears was that I could flip them around. So now I have star ears on the stripy side and I have stripy ears on the star side, which I thought added an extra fun element to this Mickey pillow. Once again, if you're good at sewing, this is totally a great spot for you to use your skills on this project. I really like how this guy turned out. I didn't put anything in the pocket because, to be honest, I don't know what to put in there, but I love the element of it. And we have a red couch, so it actually matched perfectly with our regular decor. Let me know what you guys think.
Okay, so I want to tell you all about today's challenge and fundraiser. So this is the Patriotic challenge. So we had to make DIYs that are red, white, and blue themed. If you didn't know, Teresa actually is a veteran herself, and she has a really soft spot for this. So we are donating to the Fisher House, and I'm just going to read off the description here. Fisher House is a home away from home offered at no cost to military and veteran families while their loved one receives specialized care. So that's what today's organization is supporting, and where I will leave information on how to donate money if you're interested in the link down below. Let's move on to our next DIY. This is the close-up, in case you were curious.
Last but not least is this little paddle board that is great for a beer flight. If you have kids, a juice flight, shot glasses, whatever you want. I just have shot glasses here. I actually don't have the right glasses for a beer flight, or small enough little cups for that, even if I filled them with juice or whatever else. But this could be super fun whether you're adult or kid. I got this paddleboard, of course, from the Target One Spot or Dollar Spot area. And there were three options. There was one that was all wood. There was one like this that was dry erase board, which is like the white vinyl that's on there, which was perfect, so I wouldn't have to paint it, and that means it's going to be water resistant in case there's spills. And then there was a chalkboard version, so I picked this one. And I'm painting every other circle red, including those ridges, just using a damp paper towel to clean up any mess ups. And then I paint the other two blue, of course, because we are going for that red, white, and blue theme. And this cleaned up super easy when there were any mess ups, because of that dry erase board type of vinyl-y stuff on top. Next, I'm using a little star template that I drew and cut out of some extra scrapbook cardstock. And this, I just figured, would be an easier way to get a decent star down instead of painting one, screwing it up, painting over it. So I honestly redid the star maybe twice. If you have a star sticker, that would be a perfect outline. If you want to do one with your Cricut, great. I just drew one out on some cardstock, cut it out, and then drew around it. Now I'm going in with some white paint. Now, you're going to see me just do one layer of white paint here. I did go back off screen and just touch up any areas where it felt like it might need it, but some areas didn't feel like it did. So it's, your discretion whether you want to do one or two layers of this. But I'm just going in and painting my stars on the blue areas, and if you couldn't guess, we are going to do Mickey's on the red area. Now, different than the Mickey tile, or excuse me, the mini tile that you see here, we are just doing Mickey Mouse heads for the red areas. So using the same exact technique with that round sponge brush and the tinier round sponge brushes to create that effect. Before I show you the reveal pictures, I just want to recommend also putting down a layer of Mod Podge when these are dry, so that if you are using any drinks in them, they don't spill and ruin the paint or make it bubble up or anything like that. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!